When we talk about machine learning, it's very necessary to understand that how does the human learn. When you understand this thing, that how does human learn, you will be also able to understand that how does machine learn. Simply, the concept of machine learning is making the machine learn. Okay, the concept of machine learning is making the machine learn. And when we talk about human, so human is having so much of stuff with the help of which we can learn. We have books, we have articles, we have video, audio, images, podcasts, a lot of multimedia we are having, and even human learn by experience. We learn by our experience also, but machine does not experience the things. Whatever we have done till now, that was not machine learning. Whatever we have done till now, that was simply the explicit coding, simply the programming, and it was not machine learning at all. So when we talk about machine learning is the application of artificial intelligence that provides system the ability to automatically learn and improve from experience without being explicitly programmed. Okay, without being explicitly programmed. So that means what we have done till now, that was explicitly programming only. There are so many buzz terms in which people get confused, like data science, AI. People say that, okay, what kind of project? So today you will be understanding what are the differences and the relationships among the data science, artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning, and all. When we talk about artificial intelligence is basically the superset. Okay, artificial intelligence is superset. All the algorithms, all the phenomena are defined in the AI branch. But when we talk about machine learning is actually a subset of artificial intelligence. So simply, you can say that the tools are defined in the machine learning branch and the algorithms are defined in the AI branch. The artificial intelligence branch is having all the theorems, algorithms, and phenomena. But the machine learning branch has all the tools like scikit-learn, OpenCV, Python, R, all the different tools with the help of which you can implement the machine learning, Power BI and all. And when we talk about deep learning is all like it's a subset of machine learning itself. So whatever you can say, like when the projects are having the concepts of neural network, artificial neural networks, so simply it is actually coming in the deep learning. But ultimately, either you create the project of deep learning, machine learning, or AI, it will be considered to be a project of artificial intelligence only. Either you are having neural network concept, but ultimately it will be AI product. Then it comes to data science. When we talk about data science is an interdisciplinary field that uses the scientific methods, processes, algorithms, and systems to extract knowledge and insights from many structural and unstructured data. So it is an interdisciplinary field. That means it is simply having, without data, how you will be doing it all. So in all the fields, either AI, ML, or deep learning, the concepts of data science are very necessary. So data science is getting used everywhere. For the making of the projects of machine learning, artificial intelligence, and deep learning, data science is must. Without data science, like without data, we can't produce those projects. So data is coming from the data science branch. Now let's talk about that what are the different products which we are using and the machine learning, you can say, products are they. So first of all, it comes to the Google. When we talk about Google, like consider that time when we were not having 1.5 GB data on the daily basis in our pockets. Okay, consider that time. Like before Geo, you can say, before Geo, everybody was having what? They were having like 2 GB, 1 GB data on the monthly basis. We were having 1 GB or 2 GB data for the entire month. But after Geo, we are having 1.5 GB data in our pockets on the daily basis. Okay, everybody is having. So, Google and all other applications are also there on which we are actually able to search our requirements. When that particular data, this immense amount of data was not present with us, so what was happening that time? When suppose you have got some assignment, you are having some projects or assignment, and you are stuck somewhere, so people used to go to the libraries and to books. They just search everything to the books, and in the books they get the solution. It's not necessary that they will be getting the solution in one day, maybe 2 3 days, maybe 15 minutes, and it's not even necessary that at the end the exact solution which was required is there, because there the processing is not done by the book, processing is done by the human brain. So in Google, in fraction of seconds, we are able to search the stuff, and at least the results are there. I'm talking about only Google, not any AI tool. But this searching and all is also possible just because of the different machine learning algorithms which are working behind the scene. Then if we talk about Facebook, so in the Facebook, we are having like right now, Facebook is different, but in the starting also and in the previous days also, like every time there are changes. So when in the starting, you can say Facebook allows us to upload some images. So at that time when people were uploading their images on the Facebook, there was a tagging system. Tagging in the another sense, not like as we are doing right now. That time when people upload images on the Facebook, so Facebook asked to tag the people on the image itself. Okay, on the image itself, it will ask that, okay, who is this? Okay, the square will be coming there on the image, on the face of the person. Then you mark there that, okay, this is Rohan, this is Sunita, this is Geeta. So that was simply tagging. So that kind of tagging system was there, and Facebook insisted everybody to upload their images, and simply on the images, it asks to tag. And with the help of that, we have actually provided our data to the Facebook. With the help of that, we provided our data to the Facebook in such a manner that Facebook is able to create its own facial recognition system with the help of the data which we have given. Now, today also this is happening in the Google Photos. If you notice, since many years, automatically the images are getting clusters. Clusters are created. Images are getting clustered. Like folders are created, or of the similar looking images, similar faced images, and then it asks, "Who is this?" It's completely up to us that we want to answer or not. But still, that is actually doing the same thing which was getting done in the Facebook at that time. And that is just because of the different machine learning algorithms which are working behind the scene. Then, if I talk about the Netflix, so Netflix is having the movie recommendation system. According to the movies which we are watching, like whatever movie we watch, web series we watch, according to that, it gives a suggestion. If a person is watching some horror movie, horror web series, so that person is going to get the suggestions of the horror movies, horror web series only, according to our choice, and it is working on our data. What kind of data? Our pause history, our watch history, our stop history. Okay, whatever we are doing, it is getting simply monitored, and with the help of that, it is able to generate the suggestions. And that is just possible because of the machine learning algorithms which are working behind the scene. If I talk about Amazon or Flipkart, so simply there also the product suggestions are there. A person is purchasing a shirt, he will be getting the suggestions to purchase the tie or a trouser. If you are just searching about a laptop, you are not purchasing it, you are just searching about the laptop. And what will be happening? So simply if you have searched a laptop and you are not even adding to the wish list, you are not even adding it to the cart, then what will be happening is still on your social handles, different social handles like Insta, Facebook, even on the YouTube ads, on the Google ads, you will get the suggestion of the laptop. So simply until you purchase it, it will be giving you suggestions. And that is just because of the machine learning algorithm which are working behind the scene in such a manner that you have connected all your devices with the same ID, same mobile number and all. With the help of that, it is able to track your choices and it gives you suggestion. Even today, the YouTube also gives you talk about something, you talk, analyze it, talk about something, and simply as you will be going to the YouTube, you will get the same feeds there, same topic feeds. Suppose you start talking about some, flowers, you will get the videos of flower. You talk about some music, same singer music will be coming there. Okay, have you noticed it? Have you experienced that, what I'm talking about YouTube right now? Yes, and that is, we all give the permission about, three things: our contacts, our media, our mic, our camera, all those things permission we already give them. Also on Instagram also, yeah, everywhere. Like this is also the same thing, machine learning. So it is able to process so fast just because of the machine learning. That's why you are also learning it, because it is very necessary. Not a single project can be created with the help of this now. Every project needs machine learning to be there. When we talk about Zomato or Swiggy, so in the Zomato or Swiggy also they are having a huge model of data science, machine learning, in such a manner that you are sitting in a room, and you just search that, okay, I'm just going to book a burger, and simply you just took like chose a burger from a certain restaurant, and as soon as you reached towards the payment options, you got to know that, okay, you have to pay 35 rupees extra for the bad weather conditions. So you just thought that, okay, is the weather not good? You got out and you just got to know that, okay, it's raining. So is there any person sitting and deciding that, okay, it's raining at your area, or it's going to be rain on your location? No, not exactly. Actually, the machine learning model is such a way implemented there that the weather forecasting, GPS, location tracker, all the things are inbuilt there. Even it's not necessary that what price you are paying for a certain food item, your friend will be also paying the same for it. It's not necessary that the price which you are paying for a certain burger from a certain restaurant, your friend is also going to pay the same. Maybe according to his location, he will be getting some different prices options on their Zomato or Swiggy panels. Even the offline menus are different. That's another point. But yes, this is all possible because of the data science machine learning algorithms which are working behind the scene on these apps which we are using in our day-to-day lives. Now, if I talk about the machine learning algorithms, which you can say not the algorithm, the libraries which we are using to create the machine learning projects. So NumPy, SciPy, Scikit-learn, TensorFlow, Keras, PyTorch, Pandas, Matplotlib, OpenCV. There are many. NumPy we have already talked about, and all these also you will be learning. Then, if I move further and I talk about that how to find data for yourself, like I've already talked about a lot amount of data, that data is required every time. So, from where you are going to get data for your projects, these are the two very popular repositories, and I will be mentioning them: UCI Machine Learning Repository and the Kaggle. When we talk about UCI Machine Learning Repository, so UCI is the oldest one, whereas Kaggle is the newest one. So here you can see this is the UCI machine learning repository. And the UCI machine learning repository is the oldest one since 2007. They are maintaining the data here. And simply you can see like 668 data sets are actually getting maintained here as these services. So here you can see that popular data set and new data sets are there. So popular data sets and new data sets. So, and if you want to view all the data sets, so simply the view dataset option is there. I will be also discussing about this IRIS dataset project because this is the most popular dataset which is present on the UCI. Like with this datasets, simply give your half an hour daily to these datasets, so that will be actually helping you out a lot to understand more about the different algorithms and the projects which are there. Because if you already have explored them, give your half an hour daily to this website. So simply what will be happening, it will be making you understand more about the data sets of machine learning projects. This is the UCI. If how you are going to understand about it, how you are going to explore it, just go towards one of it. Like suppose Iris dataset I'm opening right now, and let's download it. You have to download it. Okay, you can read about it here also. Most of the information is given here also. But yes, you can just download to explore more about it. So here I'm opening this. So here you can see in this Iris dataset, you get this names file and the data file. So what you have to do with this names file and the data file? You simply have to firstly explore the names and then the data. When you go to the names file, just open it with the notepad. And here you will be getting all the details related to this data set. So this is the Iris plant database, plant data set. So plant related information is there. Who created it, when they created, when they donated, why was it created? All those information is here and you have to read it. Not only for this, for all other. If you want to work on your projects very nicely, then make sure that it's necessary that you go through this. It's not a joke. You really have to give your half an hour daily to this website. So there are total 150 instances. That means 150 records. 50 in each of the three classes. Three classes are simply Iris setosa, Iris versicolor, and Iris virginica. And there are four numeric predictive attributes. So four attributes are simply sepal length in centimeter, sepal width in centimeter, petal length in centimeter, and petal width in centimeter. Accordingly, as it is the plant data set, this is present. And missing attributes, none. So this is about this particular data set. Now, if I simply go to the file, this one, This also I will open, and this is having actually all the data, and 150 records are there. So simply you can see like four predictive attributes are there. This four predictive attribute is nothing but like sepal length in centimeter, sepal width in centimeter, petal length in centimeter, and petal width in centimeter. And there are like 50 records of iris setosa, 50 records of versicolor, and 50 records of virginica are present there. Okay, so this is about this iris data set, and it is the most popular data set as I told you. So it is here. Now, after this, the next one which is important, that is the Kaggle, as I told you. So another one is Kaggle, and Kaggle is the latest one. I'm not saying that after this nothing has came into the picture, but yes, this is the most popular. You can say this is the most popular. So here, this you can see, this is the website of Kaggle, and the major difference between the UCI machine learning repository and the Kaggle is that in the UCI you don't have to register yourself. Well, you can do it, but it's not compulsory. But in the Kaggle, it's compulsory to register yourself with your Gmail or your email ID. Then only you will be able to download some data sets and you can work on it. Here you can see 362K data sets and 1.1 million notebooks are there, 6,500 models. So half an hour daily to UCI and half an hour daily to Kaggle. And it's your responsibility to go through them, to give time to them. Then only you will be able to work better on your projects, whatever will be given to you. Now, after the like this data sets things, the UCI machine learning repository and Kaggle I have told. And you have to give half an hour daily to this, I have told you. Half an hour daily to UCI, half an hour daily to Kaggle. Now, after that, it comes that what are the different types of machine learning algorithms. So there are different types of algorithm. Three are the major types: supervised learning algorithm, unsupervised learning algorithm, and reinforcement learning algorithm. When we talk about the supervised and unsupervised, supervised algorithms, these are the types. These are not the names. Okay. Supervised learning deals with the labeled data set. That means the input and output will be already present there. Iris dataset is a good example of supervised learning because here we were having the four predictive attributes also, and we were having the output also, that is Setosa, versicolor, and virginica. Then when we talk about unsupervised learning, learning basically deals with no label data set. No labels are present, like Facebook facial recognition system. In the Facebook facial recognition system, we are not having any labels. There is no identity that who is there in the image. That has to be provided afterwards by the you can say by us, by the user and users. That is unsupervised learning. Then when we talk about the reinforcement learning, it's a mixed data set. So here the supervised and unsupervised are clubbed, and you can see say the Google Assistant and all, Alexa and all are actually the examples of reinforcement learning. They learn on in the ongoing basis, you can say. Now let's talk about them in detail. So first of all, I would like to tell you about the machine learning techniques. So there are two different machine learning techniques, major, that is supervised learning and unsupervised learning. Supervised learning develop predictive models based on both input and output of the data. Classification and cluster regression are the like techniques used in the supervised learning. In the unsupervised learning, it group and interpret the data based on only input data, and clustering is the technique which is used there. After that, when we talk about the supervised learning, so supervised learning, here you can see this is the model. Firstly, that input will be there for the data, like data input will be there for the model training. This training will be going on, training data set and all will be there. When the training of the model is done, then the output will be coming in the format of classes. Like in the supervised learning, the classification is done. That is the technique. So we will be getting like classes, and as the example of Setosa, versicolor, virginica, and the iris data set. Let's take one more example here. And I am talking about the Apple dataset. Let's say that we are having one Apple dataset. Apple is fruit, and Apple dataset, like Apple is so many different type of apples are there throughout the world. So that dataset will be containing the information about all that. So their characteristics and all will be present in this dataset. And the model training is done with the help of algorithms and all. Then when we will be giving input of a new apple, so it will be able to identify that okay, this is an apple because it is already trained, the model is trained. So with the help of the characteristics, it will be able to identify that yes, it is an apple. That is the point. Next thing is unsupervised learning. In the unsupervised learning, here you can see the training data set is not present. No training data set is present. We will provide the data, but data will be not having the information. It will be not having the output and all. Data set will be there. Mixed data set will be there. And then the clusters and all will be created after the processing. So in the unsupervised learning, the apple, mango, banana, suppose it's present here. So apple, mango, banana is there. So simply the model training will be done, and the system does not know this is apple, mango, banana, but it will be clustering it on the basis of the characteristics. It will be not giving us the name, but it will be clustering it according to the characteristics, and then we can provide the name to it, just like the example of Facebook facial recognition system or the Google Photos, which I have given you previously. Now, after this, the next one is the reinforcement learning. And when we talk about the reinforcement learning is basically a mixture. It's a mixture of, you know, both supervised and unsupervised. So here, the reinforcement learning kind of techniques are used, algorithms are used in the games, machine learning enabled games. And I told about the Google Assistant, Alexa, and also the Chat GPT kind of projects, chatbots. Okay, so simply here I will be explaining you this with the help of the example of uh, a game. Okay, a machine learning enabled game. All the games which we are playing right now these days, they all are machine learning enabled only. They are having all those features. That's why the stages get changed automatically every time. It's not same for you and same for me. It will be different. So let's take an example of a fighting game. Okay, I'm taking an example of a fighting game to explain this. So let's say that, like, when we train one game, so when we will talk about the game, so in the game, we train the computer. We are training the computer, and the computer is actually playing against the human, you can say. So we prepare the computer for it. So agent is nothing but the computer. Agent will be working in the environment of the game, and it will be taking some action according to the algorithms. Then it will be getting some reward or state is nothing but the penalty. So the agent will be working in the environment, that is the game environment. Let's say a fighting game I'm taking. So the computer has given a punch. Now the punch, after the punch, what will be happening? Either there will be some revolt, the stage will be changed, the points will be gained, or there can be some penalty also. Maybe you can say the game is over or anything like this. So what happens in the like, you can say decision tree is there. So this training of the model, basically in the training of the model with the help of different moves, a decision tree is created that okay, on this move this happened, on this move this happened. According to that, a decision tree is created, and then it decides that okay, which move is the best move. Like the knowledge base which like the decision tree which is created, with the help of that, it will be simply, you can say, able to take decisions in the actual environment after the game is ready. So this way it works. Now, moving further, and let's talk about one more example related to the reinforcement learning, as I have given you examples related to all others with the fruits example. So here also I am taking the example of fruit only, apple I am taking. So let's take, we are taking input of an apple, and when we have taken input of an apple, like, we are training the model for the apple data set, you can say, but it does not know it is apple. Okay, in the reinforcement learning also it happens. So, like, it will be going with a questionnaire, you can say. There will be a questionnaire session for us, and with the help of that, it will be able to decide that okay, what is that? So when a new apple will be fed to this, it will be asking us that okay, it is a lychee, we'll say no. It is a tomato, we'll say no. It is red in color, we'll say yes. It is sweet in taste, we'll say yes. So this way, like, it will be going for a questionnaire, and according to that, it will be able to decide that okay, what characteristics are there, and okay, this is the output, this is known as apple. So now, once it understands that it is an apple, further it will be always understanding it is an apple when a new apple will be fed to it. But before that, it will be going with a questionnaire with us, just like Google Assistant. So this way it works. Now the next thing is awesome tool for the machine learning projects, that is the scikit-learn. And scikit-learn is really very important tool, you can say, and I will be discussing about that right away. Scikit-learn is also known as sklearn. Sklearn, Scikit-learn, same. Scikit-learn is the website. sklearn is the module which you install. Now you install also Scikit-learn only, by the way. So this is their website, you can see. And these all resources I will share with you. You can see the one which I have talked about. Like, it is a machine learning tool in Python, and it is simple and efficient tool for predictive data analysis, accessible to everybody and reusable in the various contexts. It is open source and commercially usable, BSD licensed, and it is built on NumPy, SciPy, and Matplotlib. So classification, regression, and clustering is present here. You can see these were the algorithms which we were talking about. And you can see it gives us the information that, okay, spam detection, image, like what are the different applications which are created with the help of classification, and the algorithms which are present in the classification, what algorithms are present in the regression, what algorithms are present in the clustering. You can just read them out. And here, if I go to the example section, so you will be seeing a lot of pre-coded projects are there. If you just go into it, it is like for a self-paced learning, and they also provide us with the files to download, and you can download their files for these projects, and you can just try it by yourself. So this is a self-paced learning tool. It is really nice, and even in 98% of the projects of machine learning, data science, sklearn or scikit-learn is getting used. In 98% of projects, it is getting used. So it is very important module, and you have to give your half an hour daily to this also. That means half an hour daily to scikit-learn, half an hour daily to kaggle. Like, you can give alternatively, but yes, it will you if you give half an hour daily to all three, that will be best. That is going to be the best thing, because there is a lot to learn there, and every time they are getting updated. If you really want to be a master in data science, machine learning, so these are the key tools. These three are the key tools in the initial phases, which will be helping you a lot to grow you, like, to grow your career actually in a better way, and your knowledge insights. If we talk about the applications of machine learning, so in the healthcare sector, in the different neuro operation theaters and all, it is getting used a lot. In the lab test, the laboratories equipments are actually machine learning enabled, with the help of which actually they are able to get the reports and generate the reports very easily. What happens that this is machine learning enabled. So there, what happens, you can say, um, suppose in the morning you give the blood, and in the evening you get the report. Within 24 hours, the reports are there. A full body checkup. So simply, how it is possible? Like, there are so many patients in every city, and they are going to generate the reports within 24 hours. So this is just because of the machine learning enabled lab equipments. They just have to provide the slit, and they get the result. No manual intervention, least manual intervention. Then sentiment analysis system, and this is again created on the data only, on our data which we are providing on the regular basis to the different social handles. You are liking, disliking, sharing, commenting. A lot of reactions are there on LinkedIn, Facebook, and all. With the help of that, it is actually able to analyze that, okay, which kind of data, which age group, which gender, which region is liking in which language. According to that, the, you can say, content is suggested to us. Okay. Then the fraud detection. So biometrics, facial recognition system in the forensic labs, it is getting used a lot. E-commerce, I've already talked about, like Amazon, Flipkart, and all, Zomato, Swiggy. Simply, they are using it. These are e-commerce, and every other e-commercial website, most of them are using the machine learning algorithms behind the scene. Now I will be talking about an interesting model which is used by Uber or Ola, you can say Uber or Ola cabs. So simply, this is a differential pricing model based in the real-time based system, that is on four different attributes, that is the demand, number of available cars, bad weather conditions, and the rush hours. So suppose a person is going from home to office on the regular basis via Uber. So there the demand is high. Now, what is the number of available car? What are the weather conditions? What is the shortest distance? Those all things are calculated by the machine learning model, and accordingly the price is decided. It's not necessary that you and me are going to pay the same fare for 1 kilometer. Okay, it varies according to these four factors. Now let's talk about the day-to-day life examples of machine learning, like simply Siri, Cortana, and Google Assistant. You all know about it. Google Assistant is basically an artificial intelligence powered virtual assistant developed by Google, that is primarily available on the mobile and smart home devices. Cortana is basically a virtual assistant created by Microsoft for Windows 10 and above. And Siri is an intelligent assistant that offers a faster, easier way to get the things done on your Apple devices. So this was about the introductory portion which I wanted to discuss with you.